Well, here's a movie that took me over 5 years to watch, and judging by the box office performance, it seemed like not many people knew of this, despite, well, according to Rotten Tomatoes, despite this movie getting very favorable reviews, it flopped at the box office. Even though it took me over 5 years to watch it, I did watch the 2016 movie A Monster Calls, directed by J.A. Bayona, and it is based on the Patrick Ness's 2011 novel of the same name. I was really hesitant to watch it because from the trailer, it didn't seem all that. It just seemed like another kid's movie, and I just did not want that. And as time went on, I just kind of forgot about it up until now. And since I was revisiting some of my old files, I came across A Monster Calls, which I remember getting very good reviews and seemingly underperformed. And it had Liam Neeson as the monster. That was my main hook into the film. But then, as mentioned before, I kind of forgot about it over time and it just kind of faded away. And 2016 was also one of those times where I wasn't really into Hollywood films, and I was only, I think, starting to watch Hollywood films, and therefore anything that was not popular or anything that wasn't, that wasn't a hit at the box office or blockbuster at the box office at the time, I never even watched. So there were a lot of movies that had very good reviews and very much underperformed at the box office. And this is one of those movies. And for some or the other reason, this movie was there in my mind, so I thought, why not watch it up until now, and give you my thoughts on it, even though I'm pretty sure most of the people watching this may not have even known that this movie exists. Lewis MacDougall as Connor O'Malley is excellent in the film. Every single thing in the movie is centered around him, and every single development that happens is through him. And it's amazing how well this child actor is executed in the film, because every single thing you learn from the other characters is through him. For example, the mother, the grandmother, the bullies in the school, and all of that is centered around him and how they interact with him. And I enjoyed that a lot. And throughout this video, I'm going to compare it to another movie that had a very similar concept to this film, and that is the 3,000 Years of Longing. And I've already made a video about that. And it had a very similar premise where a magical being shows up to the main character and tells 3 stories. This movie also has a similar premise, but this is 3,000 Years of Longing done right, because this was a very emotional movie and the kid is on the spotlight here. Every single thing that happens in the movie is centered around him, and I love that. Liam Neeson as the monster is also excellent. He lends his voice and motion capture to the role, and he portrays the yam tree that becomes the monster excellently portrayed. The 3 stories he tells is also very interesting. I was very much into what will happen next, and the best part about it is that the story connected with the main character's life and his struggles and what he has to go through in the film. The story connected with that, and this is something that the 3,000 Years of Longing failed, whereas this movie succeeded in actually making me care about the story and the character, because there is a very direct connection which you will get to know as the story progresses, and you get to piece together the puzzle. It's not entirely laid out for you. It's just it shows you the thing first, and then as the movie progresses, you will get to know what that's about, and you have all of your relevant questions answered as the movie progresses, as the story progresses. There is a meaning to the 3 stories he tells and how that is connected to the boy's life and what he's going through. I did a bit of research, and apparently Tom Holland served as the stand-in for the monster during 1 week of production. It's just something that I've read, and I read about it through this newspaper article, and that was very interesting to me. And there was a period during production where Liam Neeson was absent. I don't know for what reason. I didn't look into it that far, but apparently Tom Holland filled in for that, and that was very interesting to me, and I didn't even notice the difference here. So I don't know what he did, but whatever he did, since I didn't notice any difference in the portrayal of it, I say was pretty much successful. Sigourney Weaver as Mrs. Clayton, credited as Grandma, does a fine job in portraying Connor's strict grandmother who has a tense relationship with him. Even Felicity Jones as Elizabeth Lizzie Clayton, credited as Mom, and Toby Kebbell as Liam O'Malley, credited as Dad, also provides great performance as Connor's mother, who is diagnosed with a specific terminal illness, and Connor's father, who is divorced from Lizzie, who now lives in the United States. These three are the three main supporting characters, and I feel like they did their job really well. And I mean, one of them is Sigourney Weaver and the other is Felicity Jones. So I had no doubt in my mind they would be able to play such a role, and they exceeded it. Before going into this movie, I had all my expectations dashed, and I'm very happy that it did, because as I mentioned before, I just felt like there wasn't really anything in this movie just coming off of the trailer. It just felt like another kids movie where, oh, he has a friend and it's going to help him through this. But no, these three characters provide the emotional core of the film, and their interaction with the boy is what makes the entire thing feel so real to me. And their performance is, again, very real. There's a scene where the boy just demolishes the room just as he's venting out frustration, but he's not realizing that it was him causing all the destruction, because Liam Neeson was telling the second story at the time. So when Sigourney Weaver shows up to the room and then sees that, the whole range of emotion that she goes through from entering to the room and then without saying a single word leaving it, that was one of the best scenes in the film. The way she carried that, excellent. Without even saying a single word. Wow. I think this is one of her strongest portrayals yet. And the same goes with the mom who is suffering through the terminal illness, and the father. There are two problems that I have, but I want to get through this one more thing. And that is, like, I like how the stories are portrayed as well. The third story isn't told in so much of detail. It's just like one or two sentences. But I like how the first two stories are told, how they're portrayed through the use of watercolors. It provided a very different outlook to the film, and I like the use of watercolors in the film. The only problem that I have is with the portrayal of certain supporting characters. The first one is that I would have loved for the father to be with the grandmother and the mother at the end of the movie. Like, there's a hospital scene near the end where all the characters, like the monster, the mom, and the grandmother, and the boy, all show up to the hospital. I'm not gonna tell you for what, you just find that for yourself. And that is like the emotional turning point of the movie, and I would have loved for the father to be there as well, considering he was there for pretty much the entire movie, but he randomly goes away. He could have just stayed for that and then went away. I don't know. I felt like he was very important enough character that he should have been there. That's my only problem with the scenes. The only other problem that I have is the portrayal of the bullies. I did like how it was executed, but I did not like how it ended. I would have loved for the bullies to have an arc in the film. As the movie progresses, even the bullies will get a complete arc. I would have loved for that to happen. There wasn't pretty much anything to the bullies. They show up for 2 scenes, beat them up, and then that's it. And the third scene is the boy standing up for the bullies, and then that causes misbehavior. That's pretty much it. As he's beating them up, he should realize like why he's doing this, why this is wrong, and at least show signs that he's trying to improve on himself or trying to fix the issues that he have after the boy stands up to him. But no, after that scene, he's just gone from the movie. Never to be spoken of. So I would have loved for him to have an arc. Those are my only 2 minor issues with the film. Another thing that I found to be a little problematic in the film is the portrayal of the adults when the boy misbehaves. There are 2 scenes in the movie, I think I already mentioned it, but the boy misbehaves. The way they show the consequence of that is a very huge problem for me, because they all have this kind of what's the point kind of an attitude. I did not like that. I would have loved for the boy to have some consequence for his actions, because that is misbehavior, but there's no sense of punishment. Everything the boy does is fine. Nobody punishes the boy for the misbehavior. I would have loved for some consequences to his actions, but yeah, as you're watching it, you would probably be fine. And and as a casual viewer, it is one of the best movies that you can watch, and I am quite sad that this movie did not get the money that it deserved. This movie should have been an instant hit. Unfortunately, it flopped, but it is a movie that definitely everyone should watch. If you ever got your hands on A Monster Calls, watch this. It's very emotional, it's very engaging. It does take its sweet time, but once you're there, it's really one of the best films that you can watch, and I'm regretting the fact that it took me over 5 years to press play on this. Don't make the same mistake I did. If you haven't heard of it, look it up on the OTT platforms or look it up wherever it's available and just enjoy it. I say this is a movie that you can watch with the whole family, and it's a movie that everyone will deeply enjoy. And thank you, Patrick, for making such a novel so that this would eventually become a movie. He also did the screenplay for this film, so I love it. Every single thought has been put into this movie. Like, the planning is immaculate, like the cinematography awesome, the shots in the film excellent, everything is so meticulously planned out in this film, and you can see the planning in the film, like and I also love what the monster represents. And yeah, I don't want to talk about it for much longer before I give away any more spoilers. So if you haven't watched it yet, look for A Monster Calls and watch it. You will definitely enjoy it. I highly recommend this film, and it is definitely, at least bare minimum, a one-time watch. You should definitely watch it at least once. You'll really enjoy it.
Girl, you shut me down and there's no witness. Got me in my feels, she would never listen. All the alcohol is in my liver. I guess I lost and you're the winner. Missing your touch, you were a good kisser. I was born a saint, but now I'm a sinner.